10 times The Simpsons predicted the future. Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Screeny. With over 25 seasons under its belt, The Simpsons earned the title of the longest-running American sitcom and animated program, but it's so much more than that. In addition to making us laugh for over 2 decades, this show also satirized each aspect of our daily lives, from politics to pop culture. The writing team behind it was always on the top of the country's cultural pulse, and that allowed them to foreshadow dozens of important events decades before they happened. Let's take a look at 10 times The Simpsons predicted the future. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can catch up on more fun facts about your favorite TV shows every day. Number 10. President Donald Trump.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
Donald Trump's presidential win took many people by surprise, but the Simpsons writers weren't among them. They predicted his victory all the way back in 2000, long before he ever hit the campaign trail. Not only did The Simpsons envision the reality star running the country, but they've also foretold he'll run it into the ground. The episode Bart to the Future shows Lisa becoming the President of the United States and inheriting quite a budget crunch from her predecessor, who just happens to be Trump. The Simpsons writer Dan Greeny described this scene as a warning to America. They needed Trump in charge before Lisa, so she could face problems beyond her fixing, because the country hit the rock bottom during his tenure. The Donald Trump they've written was an over-the-top character, but he didn't have a dark side. They could envision him building giant monuments to himself, but a wall that would keep people out from entering the US was never a part of their forecast. Number 9. Disney taking over.
Predict the future? It shows the entrance to 20th Century Fox movie studios. Now check out the fine print, a division of Walt Disney Company.
When the news about Disney's acquisition of 21st Century Fox hit the fan, fans and experts didn't know what to make of it. Some were head over heels learning about it, because this merger meant that their favorite heroes would finally be able to appear on the big screens together. Seeing the Avengers and the X-Men side by side was no longer a dream, but a real possibility. Others were worried this merger is another sign that Disney is taking over the whole world, since it already owns Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars. The Simpsons foreshadowed this event almost 2 decades before it took place, in the episode When You Dish Upon a Star. It featured a brief shot of the Fox studio lot, which reveals this company is now a division of Walt Disney. To make things even more bizarre, the episode shows Ron Howard pitching a script to the producers at this company. He went on to direct Solo: A Star Wars Story, distributed by Disney. Number 8. Autocorrect fails.
Beat up, Martin.
The Simpsons did a top-notch job at foreseeing the future of technology as we know it. They featured dozens of gadgets we use on a regular basis years before they became a part of our daily lives. Smartwatches, 3D printers, and video chat come to mind, but autocorrect is one of the most accurate predictions they ever made, all the way back in 1994. Many people find autocorrect annoying and unnecessary, and one of the Springfield's elementary bullies felt the same way when he tried to make a memo on his Apple Newton. Dolph is seen writing "beat up Martin," but the device translates his message into "eat up Martha." Everyone who ever struggled with autocorrect can relate to his rage, but Apple executives didn't find it that funny. This short scene haunted them for years, but it inspired their developers to really nail down the iPhone keyboard and make sure the text input worked properly. Number 7. Tiger attacks. Siegfried and Roy made a name for themselves thanks to working alongside dangerous wild animals. Accidents are bound to happen when you spend years around lions and tigers, and the magician duo was forced into early retirement in 2003 after a male white tiger had bitten Roy's neck and dragged him across the stage. Crew members managed to separate Roy from the Beast, but he was already critically injured and sustained severe blood loss by that time. The duo's hit show at the Mirage Resort and Casino in Las Vegas was closed after the incident. This tragic altercation was featured on The Simpsons 10 years earlier during the Las Vegas-inspired episode Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling. Siegfried and Roy were never mentioned by name, but they were an obvious inspiration for German magicians Gunther and Ernst, who ended up being attacked by a tiger who was supposed to be a part of their routine. This scene was reminiscent of the moment that left Roy Horn partially paralyzed and put an end to his and Siegfried's long-running production in Vegas. Number 6. Lady Gaga's Super Bowl Show.
Super Bowl halftime show, Gaga on The Simpsons performed for Springfield residents.
A lot of predictions made by the Simpsons writers are just a shot in the dark, but anyone could guess that Lady Gaga would give an extravagant performance during her Super Bowl halftime show. When that moment finally came in 2017, fans of the popular animated series noticed Gaga didn't do anything they haven't seen before. Her performance looked like a carbon copy of the scene from The Simpsons featured in the episode Lisa Goes Gaga in 2012. The mother monster was shown descending from the roof of the NRG Stadium from a harness while wearing a flashy jumpsuit that looked just like the Verrex piece she picked for her real halftime live show. Some of the spectators were quick to point out the similarities between the two scenes, while others felt it's a slight stretch. It wasn't so hard to predict Gaga's going to do something crazy at the Super Bowl, since she's never had any trouble making a spectacle. It's also important to note that she guest starred on the episode Lisa Goes Gaga, so it's possible she was just tricking everyone into thinking this show foreshadowed the future once again. Number 5. The success of FARMVILLE. Even if you got sick and tired of getting a bunch of FARMVILLE requests by annoying your high school friends on Facebook, you must admit this game was a pretty big hit at one point in time. The farming simulation game first launched in 2009 and quickly became the most popular game on Facebook. It peaked in March 2012 when it had 83.76 million monthly active users, but fell from grace about 2 years later. It was just a matter of time before FARMVILLE became a thing of the past, and after the buzz was over, the whole world started wondering, why the hell were they playing a game about growing vegetables and raising sheep in the first place? It may seem like a stupid idea, but The Simpsons predicted kids would go crazy for farming simulation games all the way back in 1998. The episode Bar Carney featured a similar virtual game called Yard Work Simulator. It became the main attraction at the local carnival the family visited, and the kids from Springfield were waiting in line to give it a try. Number 4. Old Beatles letters.
Hello, what's this? From Springfield, USA. Yeah.
The Beatles were getting so many letters during their prime, it was impossible to reply to them all. But that didn't stop Ringo Starr from trying, at least according to the episode Brush with Greatness from 1991. The drummer of the famous band made a guest appearance in this episode and played a brief but important part in Marge's storyline. It turned out the Simpsons matriarch was once a big fan of the Beatle, and she even sent him one of her paintings asking for his honest opinion. Marge finally got a reply from Ringo a few decades later, because it took him forever to answer fan mail. Ringo did nothing similar in reality, but his fellow Beatle Paul McCartney reportedly did. The famous musician made the headlines after responding to two fans' letter after over half a century. His reply was as sweet and touching as the fictional message Ringo sent to Marge when he made the cameo in The Simpsons. Number 3. FIFA's corruption scandal.
Please help us. The rot is everywhere. In fact, I see that I myself am about to be arrested for corruption.
Back in 2015, the news about FIFA's corruption scandal shook the world. A number of FIFA officials ended up being arrested on corruption charges, which included wire fraud, racketeering, and money laundering. This scandal of epic proportions took everyone by surprise, but the Simpsons writers saw it coming a mile away. They foreshadowed the whole event in the episode You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee. FIFA was never mentioned by name, but it was obvious they were making references to the real-life world's governing body of soccer. In this episode, Homer is called to be a referee at the World Cup in Brazil, where he's forced to fix the games by a shady criminal organization after accepting their bribe. The corruption scandal wasn't the only thing the Simpsons correctly predicted in this episode. They also foretold Brazil's defeat to Germany in the 2014 World Cup. Number 2. Horse Meat Scandal. The episode Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song from 1994 revealed that Springfield Elementary School was hiding a shady secret. Horse meat turned out to be one of the secret ingredients their cafeteria was using on a regular basis. Lunch Lady Doris was shown casually delving into a barrel of horse meat and adding it to the meal she was making for the kids. This brief joke about lunch meat turned into a real-life horror story in 2013. It turns out dozens of companies have been stuffing us with horse meat for years without our consent. Horse DNA was discovered in frozen beef burgers sold in supermarkets across the UK and Ireland. To make things even worse, traces of horse meat were even found in school dinners and hospital meals. Number 1. Rigged voting machines.
1 vote for McCain. Thank you.
No, I want to vote for Obama.
2 votes for McCain.
Homer Simpson isn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed, but every once in a while, he makes a sensible choice. Unfortunately, the universe has a tendency to conspire against him, and that's exactly what happened during the episode Treehouse of Horror 19. This Halloween episode featured several spooky scenes, but the opening sequence was scarier than all of them combined because it reflected the bizarre reality that we live in. It showed Homer heading to the polls during the 2008 American presidential election and trying to cast his vote for Barack Obama. After several failed attempts, it became obvious the machine was rigged because it only allowed him to vote for his opponent, John McCain. Something similar occurred during the presidential elections 4 years later. Voting machines in Pennsylvania were removed after it kept changing people's votes for Barack Obama to ones for his Republican rival, Mitt Romney. Obama ended up winning, but this strange occurrence raised many questions about the legitimacy of the election process as a whole. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.